Hi everybody, Steve from Steve's Makerspace here, and today we are in RobocraftX with a Kinetic Art Sculpture Garden. This is going to be kind of a chill video, not super exciting. I've done a lot of interesting things in here, and so get yourself into the mindset of visiting a sculpture garden, because that's what this is, inside of a video game. Alright, let's get to it. This first piece I call Wheels of Progress. It's based on a piece by Jennifer Townley. I'm going to have a bunch of links in the description. There'll be a link to a video of the piece by Jennifer Townley where you can see where I got this idea from. Not all of my ideas were successful. This was supposed to be trying to make some sort of fish or a flying object, but couldn't really get it to work. This is another, what I would say, a failed piece. Not sure what I was going for here, but it's amusing. This I call the Dice Master. It's based on a piece by Ike07 in Scrap Mechanic. There was a Reddit challenge to do kinetic sculpture. This was one of my first Dice Masters where it was just bars. This is Wind Dancer. The pieces that are falling are just to get the Wind Dancer going. They're not actually part of the sculpture. Later on I'll show you a motorized version of Wind Dancer. This is another failed experiment, though that might work for making a rabbit or a frog hopping. I took the back off and now it does back flips, which is fun. I'm not sure I would call this art. Nor would I call this art. This is interesting, though, kind of fun. This I call Undulations. I really like this. There are several versions of this I'll be showing you. But I could watch this for a long time. So here's another version going quickly. I'll slow it down. And yet another version. It's kind of a snake dance. That might be another good name for this. And another version. Now with this piece I was trying to get kind of a spiral going, a 3D spiral. Some success, but couldn't get it to really do exactly what I wanted. Here I've got hinges connected together and I'm trying to get sort of a wave pattern going at the end with some success. I wish I had a seat. This is Spiral Arms, which is something I made in Scrap Mechanic. I'll have a link to that video in the description. It's interesting to see the different patterns it makes as it unfolds and then folds itself back up. This is a simplified version of a fractal tree that I made in Scrap Mechanic. A link to that will be in the description. It breaks if it folds inward, which is kind of amusing. This is before, I love that. This is before they fixed The RobocraftX people came out with a fix so that things don't break quite as easily as this. This is recorded before they made that patch. I kind of wish they hadn't fixed it. At least for this is funny. But no, I am glad. This is what it looks like now. This is after the patch. Still breaks, but not quite as badly. And it doesn't fix itself when I put it back to normal. This is called, I'd say, Foursquared, I guess. I've got a better version coming up soon, but this was pretty interesting. I like it. But the piece coming up next is based on something by Dr. Navi in Scrap Mechanic. I call this 5 squared, and I have a link to that video of Dr. Navi's Scrap Mechanic sculpture in the description as well. But I really like this. This is another one I could just stare at for an hour or so. And you can fiddle with the controls to get different designs or speed up different parts, slow them down. Here it is sped up quite a bit. I think I've got them all at max speed. This piece I call Vortex. It's based on some work by Anthony Howe. I'll have a link to a video of his work in the description. I made this by putting up some of those infinitum pieces in a circle around my character. So you can't control this. Each individual spike has its own power source and lever. I think it's interesting to look at from a distance too. And you can see the different colors. There's some red lower down and then kind of blues and yellows at the top. So I built all these pieces separately, and then I had to build a catwalk to link them all together. I'll be submitting this world to the community games with RobocraftX. So hopefully soon you'll be able to play with this world. This is my current version of the Dice Master. It gets a bit chaotic the farther along it goes. And here's the current version of Wind Dancer with all the controls for each axle. We'll get it going up to full speed. This I call a pendulum, based on the idea of a double pendulum, which does some really interesting things. Unfortunately, a double pendulum in this game didn't really work like a regular double pendulum. So I powered 2 of the 5 sections. The first section and the third section have power, and the other 3 are just swinging freely. The double pendulum is sometimes used as an example of the chaos theory. There are a couple of stairwells on the platform in case you fall off, and there's also right in the middle of the platform there's this lift. So I think it's about time to wrap up the video. If you've liked what you've seen, please give me a like. Consider subscribing to my channel. I'd love to see your comments. What are you doing in RobocraftX? Have you made any kinetic art? I'd love to hear about it. Remember to check out all the links in the description for other videos of kinetic art. And check the community games in the next week or so to see if they've added this world to RobocraftX builds. So as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now! Steve's Makerspace.